Congressman Saldi S. Villa, the Lone District of Siquijor, who is now very famous tourist spot. So, PSA, are you done with your presentation?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So that's only rice, huh?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
So, when we speak of hunger, what does this mean? May I now ask FNRI, are you around? Food and Nutrition. Kasi baka naguhula-hula lang kami kung talagang ano. May call on Dr. Mildred Girindola, Supervising Science Research Specialist. Are you here? Ma'am? You're recognized. You can sit beside Bong Plaza. You're safe there. You don't have a presentation. Next time, ComSec, every time we ask for the evidence-based database, I think our resource person, especially scientists, should have their presentation. So ngayon, ma'am, may we be enlightened of the latest nutrition stat and Philippine food nutrient model?
Yeah. So good morning, everyone.
Alam mo ba kayo ang Biblia ko nung nandun ako lagi sa tabi ni Gloria?
Yeah.
I never start a policy without looking at the FNRI studies because that leads to all the other policies.
So based on our recent data, based on the 2018-2019 expanded National Nutrition Survey, 56% of our Filipinos are food insecure. So it means that 6 out of 10 of Filipino households are food insecure. So we asked this based on self-reported questionnaire. In the past 30 days, these questions were experienced from being food insecure in terms of being afraid to be out of food until it becomes hunger in a sense. And this food insecurity, we know, has direct effect on malnutrition. And for the past 20 years, we can see that stunting among our under 5 children remains for 20 years. So we are one of the country in the world, the top 10 in the top 10 with the highest stunting rate. And we can just imagine what's the effect.
Ano yung stunting rate namin?
Stunting is around from 33%. Now it's about 27%.
So nag-improve
So it's
naman.
decreasing, but still, we're talking of 3 out of 10 under 5 children who are stunted. And it's very high compared to our neighboring countries because they are into declining their stunting rate.
How many food groups are there?
Food groups,
Yes.
maybe my colleague here can explain further.
Carbo, grow, and go.
Yeah. So we have a lot
So
of...
where are we deficient?
We are, in general, deficient in most of our foods. While I'm listening, you say that Filipinos have good adequacy for protein. It's because basically the staple food rice is also high in protein, and we're getting our protein from our staple food rice. So that's why. But when we talk of the healthy foods, about 80% of Filipinos cannot afford healthy foods. 80%. That's based on the FAO data. 80%. Because we know that fruits, vegetables, fish, meat are very expensive, and our poor Filipinos cannot afford.
So you're
except
accusing
for
Congress
rice.
of doing nothing?
It's a whole of society approach, so all of us have a role to play, and yeah. So, it's
Ma'am, you have something there. Can we have a copy of that?
actually we have hard copies of presentation.
You have USB?
Yeah. USB. Yeah.
The FNRI is under what? DOH, DOST?
We are under the Department of Science and Technology, so we are the research arm of the government specific for food and nutrition research.
So you're more likely to tell the truth.
So we're the one,
You're not under the NNC.
we're not under the NNC, so we're a research agency.
You're not under the National Nutrition Council.
We are a member of governing board. The DOST is a member of the National Nutrition Council.
But not FNRI itself.
So we sit in the technical committees of the National Nutrition Council.
Ano ba to? Pwede ba natin tong pa-Xerox? Dapat,
may-
dapat para to ma-Xerox para lahat
Actually, we have,
makapag-comment dito. Mukhang there's more to this than what you're saying.
Maybe my colleague.
Can I ask,
Mr. Chair,
did you take your oath?
I haven't.
Can you stand up and your colleague to please take your oath? Comsec? Okay lang.
Good morning, ma'am.
Don't worry, our detention centers are full. My goodness.
Please stand
Please
up.
stand up, ma'am.
Please stand up and raise your right hand. Yeah. I, please state your name.
I, Mildred Ogirindola,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that the testimony I will give
that the testimony I will give
before the Joint Committee
before the Joint Committee
or Murang Pagkain Super Committee
on Murang Pagkain Super Committee
of the House of Representatives
of the House of Representatives
will be the truth,
will be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the
and
truth.
nothing but the truth.
So
Thank
help
you.
me God.
So, sino yung tinawag mo kanina?
She has the
Asan na siya?
news coordinator.
So may presentation ka?
Nasa pa. Laptop.
I'd rather that we go through this because this is where it hurts. When you don't have food, you get malnutrition, you get stunting, you get wasting, you get everything, especially compared to other countries. May comparison ba dito sa ibang countries?
But I think,
Wala.
well, hindi ko po nalagay.
Kahit yun, hindi nyo malagay.
Based on the ASEAN, I think we're the second, and in the world, we are in the 10th for stunting.
We're 10th in the world.
Yes.
Out of 183.
So
Mr. Chair,
So Ethiopia is better than us.
we are comparable to other more lower income countries. Yeah.
Oh, can we now, ma'am, you can please sit down there so we can listen to you. Ask Carlo, no. There. Can you just go through the proper pages?
Ayan.
Yeah, please sit down. Ilang pages ba to?
So maybe I will just
Go through the right page.
So this is based on the expanded National Nutrition Survey.
Next.
Yeah, next. Yeah, so the National Nutrition Survey, actually we changed our methodology for the conduct of National Nutrition Survey. Before, it's just to represent the national data, the national situation. But in 2018, 2019, and 2022, we have this called Expanded National Nutrition Survey to cater to the needs, particularly of the local government units, because they say that at the national level, they cannot do
It's okay.
something because they cannot see where is my province, where is my locality. So we cater to that, and the PSA approved a new methodology for the conduct of Expanded National Nutrition Survey, wherein the sampling size of this survey quadruples. So it's 4 times more just to make sure that the 82 provinces and the 33 highly urbanized cities and 3 special areas will have their own survey, their own results that they can use for their
It's okay, ma'am.
program implementation.
I think your
Next.
methodology is better than before. So can
Yes,
you
po.
now go to the prevalence of food insecurity in 2018, 20...
Next.
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 Kasi the next questioner
Yeah,
is...
yeah. So this food insecurity among households is based on the Household Food Insecurity Access Scale, or the HPS. It is a self-reported experience in the past 30 days.
Okay, next.
So we can see here the national level data. So 56.3 at the national level ang food insecure. And we have this here, the regional results. So we can find sino po yung region na mas mataas yung food insecurity compared po doon sa mas mababa. So yung above doon sa red line na 56.3. So makikita natin, ito yung mga regions na mataas yung food insecurity. So yung nakabilog nga dyan na 81.1. So yun yung region, nakikita natin, yung region ng BARM. At ang may mas pinakamababang food insecurity, so lower than the national level of 56.3. So ito yung NCR, Cordillera, Central Luzon, Cagayan. So nakita natin, ito yung mga nasa Luzon area. So sila yung mga mas food secure based dito sa survey natin. Next. So at the individual level, so nakita ito na po yung food nutritional status
Next.
at the different food groups. So children under 5. So ito na po yung pinapakita ko. So dito nga po nag-start tayo ng 2003 hanggang 2021. So nakita natin from 33.8 noong 2003, may pagbaba naman yung stunting, yung nasa taas po, pero napaka-slow, no? So 26.7. That's what I'm telling na still 3 out of 10 Filipino children under 5 are stunted. So yung malnutrition yung sinasabi ko dyan pertaining to stunting. So pag sinabi po nating stunting, ito yung pagkabansot, no? So mababa yung taas niya para sa edad niya. So yung wasting naman po, yung pagkapayat. So mababa yung timbang sa height niya. Samantalang yung blue line, so ito yung overweight for height. So parang hindi pa natin masyadong problema sa ating mga kabataan yung overweight. So ang problema talaga natin stunting, and yung wasting na 5.5, ang classification pa rin yan ay poor in terms of severity. Next slide. Ayan, so ito yung details no ng stunting among age 0 to 5. Next. So at the national level, no? So sabi natin about 28%. At ano yung region na may mas mataas na stunting kumpara doon po sa national level, at sino yung mas mababa yung stunting kumpara sa national level? So ito naman po yung mga areas na nakikita natin. So we have Western Visayas, so 4 out of 10. Yung BARM, 36%, Zamboanga, Mimaropa, Bicol Region, and so on. So ito yung mas mataas sa national. Puntahan naman po natin yung mas mababa. So consistent, no? So yung Central Luzon, Northern Ilocos Region, Calabarzon, NCR, Cordillera.
Okay.
Next po.
I think we have what you have. We will provide copies. I
Yes.
think basically we already have
Yes,
established that stunting has not gone
Yes,
down.
yes po. So
And based on regions, we will provide copies. So now, please just stay there.
okay po.
Let me ask also our... Asa ba dito si ano? Sino? Oh,
Can I answer a question?
no, later na lang. May I ask somebody I know, a very bright person? Lionel, do you have a presentation?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we have a
He's
presentation.
actually advising the SWD on matalino at malusog na bata.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Asan yung kilay na?
Ang next na magtatanong si Ma'am
Stella. Oh,
o si Ma'am Robes.
okay. Please proceed.
Good morning, distinguished chairpersons and members of the Murang Pagkain Super Committee. I am Lionel Tanganco, representing the Mulusog at Matalinong Batang Coalition. We're a policy advocacy group against malnutrition, and I have a short presentation, just 11, 12 slides, to highlight malnutrition and to add a bit to what our scientists from the DOST FNR have already presented. Next slide, please. So as many of us know, 1 in 3 to 4 Filipino children under 5 years old is stunted or too short for their age. More than just genetics, it's really a sign of chronic undernutrition. And it impacts not only physical growth, but also cognitive development, and which is why we care so much about it, because it's something that affects the future of our people. Next slide, please. Our performance in reducing stunting has been relatively flat compared to our ASEAN neighbors. And this is quite unfortunate that we've been overtaken by countries that have been in worse off positions than ourselves before, such as Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar. These are countries that 2 decades ago had stunting rates of higher than 40%, even 50%, and they've overtaken us. And we're second worst in the region, next to Indonesia. Next slide, please. As mentioned also earlier, the Philippines is among the top 10 countries globally with the highest number of stunted children. This is in terms of the absolute number of children, not just the stunting rate. If we try to estimate using rates, we're talking about 3 to 4 million children at any point in time whose economic futures are limited because of undernutrition. So it's something we really have to address. The reason why, next slide, please. The reason why we care about undernutrition so much is because the impact of stunting goes far beyond just height. It results in underdeveloped brains, as 90% of a child's brain develops before the age of 5. So you see on the screen po the differences in brain scans of children at 3 years old after the critical window of the first 1,000 days from conception to 2 years old. And the effect of this is lifelong. Yeah. Next slide, please. Paano po siya lifelong? It's because undernutrition in the first 1,000 days from conception causes irreversible physical and mental damage that create lifelong disadvantages for the people who are stunted. Children suffering from stunting have underdeveloped brains and have diminished mental ability and learning capacity. And when they grow up, when they're in school, there's proof that malnutrition increases the chance of grade repetition and lowers the chance of completing school. So they lack qualifications and skills. And the result when they grow up is that there's reduced earnings in adulthood and contribution to society, because from childhood until school age, there's little human accumulation. So it really limits the job prospects of individuals and their ability to escape poverty. Next slide, please. Furthermore, undernutrition traps people across generations. So it might be actually one of the ways through which poverty is intergenerational, and it's not just through education, but also nutrition. You'll see po on the figure on the left an illustration of the medical evidence that stunted children, when they grow up to be mothers, they're more likely to have stunted kids of their own as well, because they are malnourished. But there's also evidence, and there's hope, that addressing undernutrition promotes upward social mobility. Children who are well nourished during their early years have 5 to 50% higher incomes as adults and are 33% more likely to escape poverty. So now we go to what drives stunting and undernutrition and how does it relate to food. A World Bank study based on our 2015 National Nutrition Survey data grouped the drivers of stunting into the following 5 categories. So I'll go through them quickly lang po. The first is lack of household food security and food diversity. So 2 things po yun, busog tsaka nutritious po yung pagkain. So the questions here are the questions na nakakain po ba ng food rich in protein, food rich in iron, vitamin A, and other macro and micronutrients. Second would be the poor prenatal environment, including the mother's nutrition status, no, as measured by the mother's body mass index, the mother's height, among others. Third po would be poor home care and feeding practices. So halimbawa, nakakapag-breastfeed po ba? Tama po ba yung timing of complementary breastfeeding, yung introduction of semi-solid food and then solid food? Fourth would be healthcare-related things, especially postnatal, so vaccinations. And fifth would be yung household water, sanitation, and hygiene situation. And we'll see po that the major drivers of stunting, the 3 of the 5 major drivers of stunting are actually related to food. So it's something that really has to be addressed. Next slide, please. As a snapshot of our food diversity situation, you'll see po that our people consume much less protein and other nutritious food necessary for brain and body development, leading to the prevalence of stunting. So flash on the screen is the consumption of different food types, yun po yung mga orange. It's by the bottom 40% of households by income, compared to the dark green line, which is 100%, na recommended amounts po ng DOST FNRI. So the orange bars is from 2015 FICE, or Family Income and Expenditure Survey data. So our poorer households are only consuming 18% of the vegetables that they're supposed to be consuming, 12% of the eggs they're supposed to be consuming, 52% of the meat and pulses or nuts that they're supposed to be consuming, 18% of the milk and milk products. Di na po namin nasama, Mr. Chair, but our people are actually over-consuming rice at 167% of the recommended amounts. But it's hard to blame them when food prices are very high. And there's a documented economic phenomenon that when food prices soar, households try to maintain their consumption level of staple foods, so in our case, it's rice, at the expense of more nutrition-dense foods. So dahil po mataas yung presyo ng bilihin, kanin na lang or instant noodles on rice yung kinakain para busog. Pero hindi po yun masustansya. So, yun. Next slide, please. What can we learn from countries that have rapidly reduced stunting? There are 4 countries that a lot of international observers usually talk about. Peru, Vietnam, Brazil, and Thailand. They've really quickly reduced their stunting rate. And next slide, please. Among other things, on the food side, these countries made sure that a balanced meal is affordable. And it's especially important that we look at the whole meal, not just our staple. And if we focus first on the blue dots here on the graph, we'll see the cross-country relationship between food prices and stunting. On the vertical axis, we see the share of population that are unable to afford a healthy meal. And on the horizontal axis, it's the stunting rate, and we see a positive relationship. So that means that the more people are unable to afford a healthy meal, the higher the stunting rate. The Philippines is the yellow box there po. We're above the average, which is the red line, with 48% of people unable to afford a balanced meal. And so yeah, we're above the global average po of 35.4%. Next slide. And this is why we strongly support the objectives of the Super Committee to lower food prices, and we offer our technical support, Mr. Chair, for policies to make food cheap and to eradicate malnutrition. Thank you very much po.
Lionel, isa lang tanong ko. May comparative analysis ka ba yung parang in dollar terms, what is the price of a balanced meal per country?
We'll check, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, because you just said that sinabi mo na yung balanced meal is expensive in the Philippines. So how do we compare to others? Anyway, at this point, I recognize my good friend, my clubmate, Congresswoman Janet Elgarin of the 1st District of Iloilo, where I'm always absent, you're always absent. Representative Arnan C. Panaligan, the 1st District of Oriental Mindoro. Now, for the questions, may I now recognize Congresswoman, the star of all seasons, Stella Quimbo. Well, that's because of your name, Stella, not because of any other thing.
Salamat, Mr.
After you, it would be Rida Robes.
Salamat, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, there is an interagency body on inflation, the IMO, which is co-chaired by DOF and NEDA. So may I know if we have representatives from either DOF or NEDA?
We have from DOF. Okay. DOF?
The
NEDA. Okay.
Are they here?
Diba, sabi mo may NEDA. Sabi mo may DOF. Observe.
So
Sinong taga-DOF? Sino?
Representative from DOF.
We have three. Director Cheryl Carbonell, are you here?
Good morning, sir. I am from the
DTI
DTI,
pala
sir.
yan. Jemki Flor Sakar. Dr. Emmy Macabales. Here.
Highlights.
Ana Isabel Leahano. Natakot yata sa detention. Wala na tayo makukuha nito. ASCOM. Pero ba't ASCOM is with BOC? May I ask if anybody here is with DOF? Punta ka na dito.
Interjection lang daw si Tungkol po kanina. Tatanong daw siya.
Yeah, okay. So, after Robes, it will be Janet. After Janet, it will be Erwin Tulfo. Because kanina, interjection lang naman yun. Yes, okay. Stella, shoot.
yes, so obviously, Mr. Chair, gusto natin malaman kung ano nangyari sa presyo matapos ang tariff reduction to 15%. And obviously, ang DOF at NEDA ang nagrekomenda ng tariff reduction. So may we know at this point kung magkano na ang landed cost ng imported rice before tariffs? I suppose nagmo-monitor kayo.
Mr. Chair, as much as I want to answer it now, we're yet to finalize the data. So actually, I'm in charge with only the enforcement side. So I was actually expecting the other representative to be the one to answer, since this is the question pertains to the pricing.
Don't worry, this is just our first meeting. So
Yes, no, but
But
okay,
we-
but do you monitor?
Of course, we can
Okay,
provide.
so you confirm that you recommended, DOF recommended the tariff reduction?
I will have to check on that.
Ang
now.
hindi mo alam. Alam mo naman na nag-reduce ang tariff.
Yes po, but but with the specifics,
Hindi mo alam ang role ng DOF,
I know po.
which is
As explained po,
with respect to the
tumaas na
tariff
ng
reduction.
0.7 centavos.
yep, but as explained, my part lang po is on the monitoring po on the enforcement side. That's why I cannot officially answer po it. But I will provide the answer po. I will just have
Okay lang,
to
may listahan na tayo ng
confirm with the the official.
Okay, but can you confirm, kasi I have some data here, but it's a little bit outdated. Well, the latest that I have here is like March. Landed cost is about 33.38. And I wanted to compare that with farm gate price, which is about 24.52 for the same month. So I wanted to know if it's the same trend today. In other words, mas mababa ba ang presyo ng imported sa local?
Ma'am, may I most respectfully request for the data, because I'm not actually privy of the data that is being discussed right now.
Hindi, kasi di ba, bilang chair itong interagency on inflation, at alam naman natin na ang dahilan kung bakit nireduce natin ang tariff is precisely to address inflation. Di ba? At kayo ang nagmamonitor, kaya ang tanong is, naging effective ba ang policy na to? Kaya, yan ang kailangan natin tignan, di ba? So ang tanong is, pag dumadating ba ang imported rice dito, at since mas mababa na ang tariffs, dapat mas mura ang imported rice, di ba? Tama? Pero bakit, katulad ng tanong kanina ni Chair, bakit hindi bumababa ng bongga ang presyo ng bigas sa merkado? Yun ang tanong, right? So can you confirm also that when the tariff reduction was proposed, the forecasted price of rice would be somewhere between 41 to 44 pesos. And that would be at a 20% tariff rate. So dapat at 15%, mas mababa pa dapat ang presyo ng bigas. So sabihin natin, what, 38 pesos? So yan ang, meron kasi akong document dito, but it's from NEDA. So I suppose, since you co-chair this interagency, I'm sure you have seen this document as well. So yun ang tanong ko. Well, you should be, right? The fact that you're here to represent the agency that co-chairs this interagency on inflation, it is your duty to at least know what is happening with respect to rice inflation, hindi po ba? So, yun ang tanong. Bakit hindi natin na-achieve kung ano yung na-forecast na presyo ng bigas matapos ang tariff reduction? Kasi syempre, ang laki ng foregone tariff revenues as a result of the tariff reduction. So bakit hindi natin na-achieve ito? So yun ang tanong for DOF.
I will just